So I'm really having fun watching all the liberal media try to understand why Kamala Harris got trounced last week, and listen to the Democrats try and figure out what they did wrong is absolutely hysterical. They still have no clue. So I'm going to do them a favor and let them know how they ruined the brand. So just like Bud Light allowed some ridiculous liberal, out-of-touch academic take charge of their marketing and ruin their brand, the Democrats did the same. So basically they were Bud Lighted. So the working class men did not vote Democrat. I mean, like 80, I think almost 9 out of 10 voted for Trump. And these are the same men that stopped drinking Bud Light. These were Bud Light drinkers, just like many working class men were Democrats. But it got to the point where it was a joke to drink Bud Light. It's like when you seen someone do something stupid, like, dude, you must drink Bud Light. It was like an insult. Well, among us working men, calling someone a Democrat is worse than calling someone a douchebag. Seriously. It's like when someone does something stupid at work, or you're joking and you're busting chops, you're like, dude, you must be a Democrat. And people that I don't even know, their political persuasion, it's just common knowledge. Like Democrat is related to something totally ridiculous, something totally gay, feminized, like the opposite of what every working man aspires to be. So they completely ruined their brand, and I don't know how, if ever, they're going to get it back. I think we're going to have the White House for the next 12 years if I were to bet on it. Like I said, they're just way off base. I heard Sunny Houston on The View, a clip of her trying to explain what happened. She was mad that even a majority of women, 52% of women voted for Trump. They thought women were going to give this election. They thought every woman wanted to kill babies. So they were shocked that 52% of women. But the way these liberal elitists look at us is uneducated. She says, well, it's my understanding it was the uneducated women that voted for Trump. No, honey, it was the college indoctrinated women that voted for Trump. It wasn't uneducated. There's other ways to get education. People are educated. You don't have to sit in a classroom and memorize what your socialist teacher is telling you to be educated. There's other forms of education. And this is where they totally misunderstood. So these Harvard kids, highly educated, Harvard, Yale, Columbia, these kids were so educated. After Israel was savagely attacked, worse than our 9/11, they came out and protest, not against the savages, but against Israel. They were pro-Hamas. This is how educated they are. So your education sucks, and us blue-collar guys know it. We're not intimidated by you. We laugh at you guys. We call each other Democrats when we want to make fun of each other. Your brand is totally ruined. So my advice is to get educated, listen to the voters and hear how ridiculous your policies are to us. Your policies are so stupid. The common sense American man knows this. The common sense American woman knows this. Now, a lot of conservatives on YouTube will tell people don't go to college, but all these guys that say this all have college degrees. So I'm not going to say this. I encourage all my kids to get degrees because even though it's really not useful in the workplace unless you like specialize in something, especially like computers or something, you need that piece of paper. That piece of paper have kept me from so many jobs that I was qualified to do. And people have said, man, I would love to hire you, but you need that degree. So I encourage all my kids. And my kids are very educated. I have 2 kids. You've seen them on here, Timmy and Nick. They've helped me a lot with my YouTubes. They're my 2 youngest boys. They each have 2 master's degrees each. They both have 2 master's degrees, and they're both in a doctorate program. And I have a son who's a lawyer, and my 2 other kids are in college working on a degree. But what they all have in common is they all worked full-time, and they're still working full-time while they got the degree. They did their degrees online. And, Tim and Nick, my two youngest, did this by raising 3 kids and allowing their wives to stay home and homeschool. Same thing with my lawyer son. He has 3 kids. His wife stays home and homeschools. My other son, his wife works part-time, but, mostly is at home taking care of the kids. And my daughter did this while homeschooling herself. So they see both sides. They see the real world that they live in. They have to work, blue-collar jobs, and they see their college-educated professors, and they laugh. And like, yeah, all my professors must be Democrats. They're so dumb. Fred Smith, when he was going to college, he had to do a report on business. Fred Smith had to write a report and give an idea for a successful business. And Fred Smith came up with this idea about a delivery service that will deliver packages the next day, and his professor gave him a D. He said, this is unrealistic. It would never work. Fred Smith graduated from college, not at the top of his class, but he started FedEx. And his professor never produced anything, never produced a job, graduated college, and then became a professor. So these are the educated people that ruin the Democrat brand. So I'm just going to give you some advice. Don't be a Democrat.